Is it actually? For fuck's sake. Oh, I'm going to have to edit this on the fly, aren't I? Because the edit box didn't come up. Okay, right. Give me a second, chaps. Uh, what am I doing tonight? What am I doing any night? Why does anyone even watch this? It's just me talking randomly. I am hot garbage, as they say. Right. Uh, we're doing a Warpath officer spotlight, and this evening we're doing it on Haymaker. Now, I know before I start, people are going to be asking, Cheddar, what about Yardbird? There's enough people covering Yardbird, probably, I imagine. I don't know. Um, I don't actually watch the content that is produced on Warpath because I play other games, so I watch content produced on other games. So I don't actually know who's actually doing what, but I figured considering he's siege artillery, he's going to be more popular than what. Hang on, let me move that out of the way. Let me move that way over yonder. I figured he'll be way more popular than this guy, Haymaker, which is objectively going to be flying in uh, quite heavily under the radar um, as a result of, well, there could be any number of reasons, really. Not a lot of people are that interested in the field units. I don't know why, but he is a tank field attack. We're going to analyze him. If you've never seen a officer spotlight before, I go through the skills left to right, tactical to awakened, and I grade them 1 to 5. A spoiler alert, I've been through this officer multiple times over the last day and a half. He's good. End of story. He is very good. We'll get into the hows and whys once we've graded all of the once we've scored all of the abilities, we'll give him an overall score at the end, and then we'll briefly discuss on how we can use this guy if we're going to use him. We're going to use him on a helicopter. You'll see why when we go through the skills, but we're going to use him on a helicopter. No, it says tank, and technically he has like tank options, but he's a helicopter option. We'll talk about potential pairings. We're not going to go into too much in depth about that, and we'll talk about potential gear options. And again, we won't go into too much depth about that because it's not a unit build video. It is a video centered around this officer and why he's a good officer, especially if you have tank technology blitzed out. So anyway, we'll start off with the tactical skill, which deals a coefficient of 1800 to the enemy. If it is in a tank or a helicopter, this skill also deals increases the damage intensity rather up by up to 15% for 8 seconds. So you can already see here that we're getting a very nice skill straight out the gate. It's 1800 plus. We're getting a damage intensity of 15%. Now, to put that into perspective as to how good that is, a similar a similar officer, Lady of Justice, she only got that 15% damage intensity once she was awakened. Okay, so I want you to understand when I say when I grade him as high as I do, why? Because this skill here as well is a very good tactical skill, and this is also kind of an equivalency. We've got a critical strike with a high damage coefficient, but uh, this is being the new standard 1800, and we are seeing a damage intensity of 15%. So um, I'm going to grade this a 5 because of what it means for the unit as we go into a unit build with this guy later on. Not necessarily, well, not today. I'm not doing it today. He's got 2 special skills and a balance skill. And his second skill, which is the first of the special skills, shrapnel charge, when this officer's whenever this officer's tank or helicopter troop attacks a ground force troop, it applies breach to the target troop for 4 seconds, reducing the target damage resistance by up to 25% and can be triggered once every 2 seconds. This is a 5. Now, I need to explain a few things in case you weren't aware. So, breach a debuff that reduces the target's damage resistance while active. Breach effects do not stack. Please remember that breach effects do not stack. If multiple breach effects are applied, only the strongest one takes effect. Now, why is this important? Well, because if we go back to certain other officers, and I know I've gone past one, I've done that deliberately because, first of all, I want to go to Death Adder. You'll notice that they have changed the wording in Death Adder. He now has the same buff, Breach. Huh. Well, technically it's a debuff, but whatever. But more importantly, this officer, Valkyrie, who was also a field attack tank officer with 2 special abilities, who really was geared for using on helicopters, who also had a special ability that gives breach now, as it has also been changed, but it only went up to 20%. You can't pair this guy with Valkyrie. In fact, if you run this guy, you can't run Valkyrie because this skill effectively is going to go to waste. Unless she's awakened, obviously, and then in that case, you're getting a free 200 coefficient every time the unit fires, but I digress. That, in fact, effectively, the breach mechanic, now that they've changed it and given a more clear definition, you can see how often this 200 is going to be popping up. It's going to be pretty mad. Anyway, back to Haymaker. So that's why I'm giving this one a 5. It's every 2 seconds for 4 seconds. That helicopter is going to be firing off, once every 8.3, 8.9, depending on which helicopter you've got. Maybe if you've got the Martyr and you haven't got enough firepower on it, it's going to be firing off at 2.1. But it's going to apply it, and you're going to get a damage resistance on the target generally before that skill shot goes off. Onto his third skill, Adaptive Sight. When this officer is in a tank or helicopter troop, increase the troop's normal attack critical strike rating by up to 20%. I think you know where this is going already. After the troop dodges an attack, its firepower is further increased by an additional up to 15% for 8 seconds. This effect stacks up to 5 times. You can have this 15% firepower boost stack up to 5 times. That's a 75% increase. Now, it does say the caveat is whenever the troop dodges an attack, and I'm going to show you at the end of this video how to really, really, really exploit that. Man, this is so, I can't even believe, I have access to the player testing servers, but I refuse to go on them. I'm not sure what the devs were thinking with this one, because you can make pretty much the most deadly helicopter I've seen in the game out of the gate now. So anyway, that's a 5, because that's really, we can really exploit that. We can really exploit that. That's too high. His balance skill, its damage intensity and damage resistance of 12.5, which goes up from the standard 10. Um, at this stage, I kind of just want to give it a 5 for no other reason other than the fact I just need to hammer home a certain point. So even though this is technically a 4, I'm going to grade it a 5 regardless, because I need to hammer home a very specific point. When this officer is in a tank hunter or a helicopter troop, I refer to my earlier statement about this guy being a helicopter based officer. The troop gains an additional 15% dodge chance. Remember when I said we can exploit the dodge? When this officer's tank, hunter, or helicopter troop enters combat, it receives diminishing on a 35% for 12 seconds. So it gets an additional 35% when entering combat, and then that goes down to that 35% goes down to 0 over 12 seconds. So you're getting a flat 15 dodge rate. You're getting an additional 35 for entering combat. And for those of you who can count, that means you have a 50% dodge chance as your opening salvo hits the enemy tank or the enemy artillery and they turn to fire you. And then you're basically on the flip of a coin that you're going to dodge and you're going to you're going to hurt them. So obviously that's going to be a 5, which means he scores a 5. He's a perfect officer. I mean, technically he doesn't, because I kind of cheesed the score deliberately because I think this is a 4, but I just need you to understand how dangerous this officer can be. If you are running tanks and you have tank tech and you have a helicopter, which I'm sure most of you do, I do not because I play infantry, and we'll get onto that rant in a separate section of this live stream. Hello to those of you who watch my content in the future as a VOD or whatever. I just need to really point something out. If you can dodge 50% of the incoming attacks, and then that grants you more firepower and allows you in turn to just destroy your target faster, they're going to have less firepower, which means you're probably going to receive less damage as a result. Now, I said we can abuse that dodge mechanic. We can, because there is in fact only 2 other officers that have the dodge mechanic, and they are both versatile. One of them you can't get anymore. So if you have an older account like mine, or you have access to an older account like mine, Bomb Princess, you can train in an additional 8% on him with this skill. So that give you 58%. That means you're more than likely, more than half, going to the odds are now in your favor that you're going to dodge consecutively. But when you place Margarita as the aid, you get an additional 10% dodge rate, giving your dodge rate a total of 68% upon entering combat. 68%. Okay, so in RPG terms, at 35% is called like a soft cap. Afternoon, Jormungand, however, I can't pronounce your name very well. I'm very sorry. So in RPG terms, 35% is a soft cap, and a mid cap is around 45%, and anything over 65% is considered a hard cap, because anything kind of beyond that point is fairly pointless. Now we've just built a helicopter with 2 officers and 1 special skill where we're going to enter combat and immediately get a 68% dodge chance. That means every time a round from the enemy unit, a round, not a lump of damage, a round. So if there's 4 tanks firing 4 shots, you've got a 68% chance on each one of those shots to score a dodge. That's like flipping a coin 4 times and seeing how many times it lands heads up. But you've then put a piece of blue tack on one side to tip it in your favor. Do you not see how that might be abused? You can have a Dodge helicopter. That sounds really weird. Sounds like it should be in like an American TV commercial. Dodge helicopter. The only helicopter that breaks down after 2 miles over slightly rough terrain, but whatever. It is overpriced, too large, and runs out of fuel in about 5 seconds and can't be driven on European roads. I tease, American viewers. I tease. I'm sure your Dodge trucks are lovely. Um, but the thing is that he is so dangerous because of that mechanic. It means you can go out and go head to head with things like tanks. You can go head to head with things like infantry. Infantry, in particular, is going to be firing very high volumes of ammunition at you in a very short space of time. You're going to be dodging a lot of those incoming rounds, which means you're going to pretty much rapidly hit that cap almost immediately and then have that 75% firepower boost, which means as soon as the first skill shot drops, you're going to 75% the target. And because she is now the aid, you're going to then be hitting for an additional 550 on top of that. So when I say um, this guy is dangerous, Haymaker is dangerous. And I don't think there's realistic. I mean, there's a couple of other builds you could make for him. Yes, you could put him with Rapier and you could do a full crit build and use exactly the same what we've just been talking about here. Train in that 15% from Justice and then rock up to, I think I worked it out as something silly. What he gets 20, Rapier gives 15, so um that's 35. You get 5 out of the tech tree, that's 40. He gives another 20 here, that's 60. He gives another 20 here, that's 80. An 80% crit chance. Again, it's broken as hell. You've got to remember, if you're a tank player and you have the end of the advanced tank tree, that 80% is not going to be hitting at a 150% bonus, it's going to be hitting at a 200% bonus. And at 80%, you are guaranteeing almost every single shot that leaves that helicopter to absolutely wail on your opponent and kill it. Just, I mean, if I was doing if I was going to do a crit build with Haymaker and Rapier, Rapier would be the captain, so we can get that bonus crit in early. Okay. Once we've got that bonus crit in, I'd make sure that the pair is put in on a martyr. If I'm using Margarita, Margarita is the aid and Haymaker is the captain because we want that damage resist in early. And I would make sure that they're either on Liberty, a Liberty helicopter with a skin, or on a Vanguard helicopter because we want to utilize that firepower boost, or we want to utilize that maneuverability that we can then have with the helicopter. Now, the only thing that is left that we'll quickly cover in regards to Haymaker is potential gear items. Now, obviously, we don't have a lot of gear items at the moment. At the moment is a big key word because this is going to change. You can actually, I don't know if you're actually aware of this. Some of you might not be, some of you might be. If you go into gear and you press this and you've got nothing, you can just buy more gear whenever you want. That's why I've only got 52,000 gold. I just bought, well, you can see how many I bought today. I bought 62. That I've done that this afternoon. So, in fact, do you know what? I kind of need the gold, but just for the memes, we'll do it now. Again, oh, there you go. Broken. Let's just get on with what we were doing, shall we? Fuck's sake. Um, well, that's handy. That went up to level 5. Anyway, so what sort of things are we looking for? We're not looking for um, pieces of equipment that are going to be skill boosters. We're looking for utility and damage intensity, maybe critical strike. So I do believe this low time reduction, we also get critical strike and troop HP. Whenever this officer's tank troop eliminates an enemy, increases the damage intensity. Helicopters count as a tank troop, I think. Normally they do. Suitable for tank officers. Okay, sure, why not? Um, Normal attack boost. That's perfect. Damage intensity. That's perfect. I wouldn't use the sheriff shotgun. And obviously, you can't use the drone. Firepower booster is nice, but it's not really needed. So I'd probably go for, in a perfect world, if I could have both of these at level 40, the painter rocket launcher and the bulwark shield. If I had to just choose one over the other, I'd go for the bulwark shield, and I would go for the tactical knife because we're then boosting up the damage intensity. It's all about the damage intensity with the helicopter build, or alternatively the painted rocket launcher and the Tiger Knuckles if you're doing a crit helicopter build. So it depends which way around you want to do that. If you're going to go for the Rapier Haymaker option, you're then going to want to get these two. If you're going for the Haymaker Margarita option, you're going to then want to go for these two. And that will just absolutely boost things up just a little bit more. Now let's just see what did I get? When this officer's troop attacks, it slows the enemy troop. Okay, cool. My fighters are going to love that. So there you have it. He's a perfect officer. He can do no wrong. Um, and the fact that your helicopter now, instead of relying on damage resistance, a shield, or HP, has a dodge mechanic where it's just going to receive no damage, um, is extremely broken. Yeah, obviously, if you're using the helicopter as a defensive weapon in place of a anti-tank gun, should you not have the anti-tank gun and you're using the Martyr, you want to probably make that the crit build, like I suggested earlier. And if you're using it out in the field to rat units, damage intensity is going to absolutely slap those artillery pieces when they're not looking. And not only that, it's going to really, really, really wound tanks as they go past, which is why I suggested the Liberty helicopter over the additional firepower that you would get from a build involving man, sorry guys, I was really sick this week. I mean, I was really sick. I had to have my friend get me from work. They threatened to call an ambulance. I just haven't been feeling right. So if this is more jumbled than normal, that is the reason why. Um, but yeah, that's also why I'm doing this on a Friday when I was actually originally planning to do this on the night these officers were released. But I would definitely be putting a intensity build on a Liberty helicopter so you can use the movement speed to chase down your opponent just that little bit faster and just fully utilize it. I mean, guys, if you have a helicopter, your time is about to shine once more. It's the golden era of 2 years ago in the summer where everyone was rocking helicopters because they were just they were just unbeatable in the field. I give you Haymaker. It's just I give you Haymaker. Haymaker and Margarita. Now, and something else I'd like to address just now outside of the whole officer spotlight, and that is how often I'm noticing Margarita pop up in my builds. Um, I'm gonna call it now. She's a core officer. She's a core officer. So those of you who have been watching for a long time know that I have these things called core officers. Officers that you kind of need to have awakened. Officers like Madame Havoc, uh, officers like Argent Flame, Lady of Shadow, Futurus Ventura, and to a certain degree, Thorn Countess. All of these core officers are officers that are so indispensable to multiple unit builds and multiple base builds that without them, you're going to kind of find it hard. And some of these are really old officers. And I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, particularly, as they've released more and more ground officers, I've found more and more use for Margarita. Now, when she came out, I did absolutely fawn over her. I said she was absolutely amazing and I couldn't wait to get her awakened. Obviously, that stagnated, but I do believe in one of my live streams, or at least in one of my videos, I did mention that they're going to bring more in to do with this dodge. That was my prediction. I probably should read what they put up in the content creators forum and the Discord, but I really don't care. I don't, like I say, I don't read any of it. So, I was right. This dodge rate is now going to get implemented in things like helicopters, which means this is now seriously, seriously like gold dust. If you have her or you have that skill, it's like pure gold dust. Now, if you do just simply have that skill and not her, and you want to use an intensity build, core officer, core officer, and you can just train in that dodge. Obviously, you'll then miss out on the 8% from Bomb Princess, but should you have a newer account, which is post event from this event where she was available, um, tough luck, you're not getting her anyway, so you might as well do that instead. However, there are other advantages to running Margarita in a field helicopter build, and that is obviously because you can reduce the skill prep time of a target you're attacking, and you can also shock the target, which debuffs their normal attacks, which, as you can see, forces them to miss you. Again, utilizing more of that dodge mechanic. So Haymaker's really, really thrown a spanner into the works, not just for myself, but for anyone out there who is rolling at least a single helicopter. Now, why has he thrown a spanner in the works for myself? Well, I'm now preparing to go back into silver. This is my current lineup. We have infantry, 3 artillery guns, and an anti tank gun. Do excuse me, that's my dinner repeating on me. And if I had the ability to put a helicopter in there, which I don't believe I have, I don't even believe I have a skin for that helicopter anyway. I do not. But if I did, I would put a Vanguard helicopter in there and I would just roll it out of the base so I didn't have to mess around with everything else like the rest of the artillery. I'd do that. or I would put in a helicopter there and then just do that. But I'm lacking the tech, guys. I don't have the tech. Um, my tank tech is that's it. I would need to completely work that, but I'm not working that at the moment. I'm working this. So this is an update for those of you following along my Dominion core journey of is it worth it? It's now 1160. It took me all week to get the 900 just to get told that I'm going to need over a week to get 1100, nearly 1200 more coins. And you got to remember when these convert at a rate of 300 to 23. That's less than 10 to 1. So, uh, yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. Pushing the Dominion tree, it's a very tough pill to swallow. Um, I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be worth it. I've been sitting on the fence, humming and hawing. In gold, I didn't really see much use of my navy because I was just so dramatically outclassed. Everyone had better navies. They had 9.0 cap navies. They had navies that were just doing more damage. There were bigger fleets. And I wasn't really able to put any of this to good use. And that's kind of where I sort of put everything, as it were. I put all my eggs in this basket at the moment. And it didn't pay off. So I wasn't really able to capitalize on it. We're now about to go into the Aegean Sea, which is only about 25% water. There's like a ring of water around sort of like the midsection of the map, and then the rest of it is ground fighting. So I'm not really going to get too much of a chance to fully push the um, the Dominion out and see if this is any good. However, that being said, uh, we are going to be getting up to a healthy 15% on the Martyr Naval Troop HP. Hopefully, when we go into the event, I'll start leveling this one. Um, so I'm hoping by the end of the event, I'll have at least two of these done. And that's wishful thinking. I'd hope I'd have two of them done, and then I'd just be looking at these final two techs here to get myself out of phase one and into phase two, which then leads me on to my next point. The original plan was for me to then blitz down phase two, and I was kind of happy with that until I realized that these buffs, these troop and damage resist buffs, they only go up to 5%. I mean, I kind of already knew that, but they only go up to 5%. And that's going to be a problem because if I just invest for a few months, I can get myself an additional 10% if I go down the tank tree. So there's been a big drive at the moment in the community. I've seen a lot of people go, hey, go back and finish picking up your advanced tech. If you've not heard anyone say that, you are now. You need to go back and you need to get these two right here out of every single tree. You don't have to get the end one, but you do need these. That's 40% damage resistance bonus. That's 40% damage intensity. If you are at a stage where you don't have these, you are now going to suffer quite heavily because you've got to remember this is troop and base. Troop and base. This is applied to ground, air force, and navy. And I'm sitting here like an idiot trying to thumb my way into phase two without having done the advanced trees. Guys, I make these mistakes and I'm quite honest about them because when I make them, I like to tell people that I've made them. The reason being is that when I discover something like this, I can tell you so you don't make the same mistake. Now, should you ignore your Dominion? Absolutely not. that would also be a mistake. Navy, whether you like it or not, is 50% of the game. Ground is the other 50% of the game. But do you know what is 100% of the game? It is your Air Force. And the amount of people who are not investing in their Air Force officers, their Air Force tech, or their Air Force components, parts, and units is phenomenal. These Air Force units can attack ground units and they can attack naval units. They can attack ground bases and they can attack navy bases. You are absolutely stifling yourself if you do not push your air at this moment in time. We're at a point in the game where Navy's been out now for a year, and we've now had all of the integration across the board with Navy and Air. It is now in fully, and this integration without, if you do not, how can I word this? If you continue to ignore your Navy and your Air Force and only focus on your ground assets, you are going to become irrelevant. Okay, sure, when you have ground, you have advanced city defense. But the amount of times I tell people I can just build around you. And that leads me on to another point, which is the troop damage resistance bonuses to counter people who have just started to go up the advanced city defense tree. You're going to have a higher damage resist, you're going to have a higher damage intensity than people who are misguidedly, and I do mean misguidedly, going after this tree. This tree only works on land. It does not work on water. The HP recovery does, the command truck speed does, the base firepower does, and so does the HP. Vanguard Garrison kinda does. They've changed it. I swear they've changed something in here. Maybe they haven't. Ignore me, I'm wrong. This does work. I think they might have changed a few things with the patch. They changed a few things with the patch. I'm pretty sure this used just to be. I'm pretty sure it used to be artillery. I'm almost certain that it used to say artillery. Either way, if someone is doing this, you can still bomb them. You can just still bomb them. It's not going to stop you from using bombers. So look, that was a mistake. Ignore me. That was wrong. You can use this on your navy now, and I still think it's misguided. I still think it's very misguided to go down this tree. You're looking at a 10% bonus in intensity there and another 10% bonus in intensity there. So you're looking at 20% intensity bonus for each respective camp and faction, which is a really, really long way to get. But you can also get the same out of your advanced tree, and then you don't have to spend all that time going down the city defense tree wishing you had more coin spare, because this tree is ridiculously expensive. 10 million, you know, it starts at 400 coin and there's 20 levels. That's wild. 20 levels. You know full well if it's starting at 400, that's going to be in like the 7,000, 5,000 range, of real quick. So these are expensive. you can complete the entire advanced tree and you can benefit from it just as much, if not more, than the advanced city defense tree. The Dominion Core, I don't regret starting this, but it is taking a long while. It's taking a very long while. I don't particularly think that with the speed it takes to do this, with the cost that it takes to do this, that it's worth pushing your way into phase two simply to get your naval troop garrison recovery rate and your naval damage intensity up a little bit higher. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, it'll make my navy better, that's for sure. And if I'm gonna navy main, that's perfect. But in order to get the conversion, you still need to complete at least one modern tech. So it's still got to be tank or artillery, realistically, hasn't it? Because there's no point doing infantry, which leads me on to another bugbear that I've had all week, which is this. So, if we just play a quick game of guess how many versatile officers there are. Most of you are probably going to know off the top of your head, and it's 16. 16. That's including the lounge officers. It's 16. Guess how many artillery officers there are. It's 16. Yeah, that's a pretty good number, isn't it? 16. So let's guess how many tank officers there are. Not 16, it is in fact 17. Would you like to guess how many infantry officers there are? Because if you said 7, you would be correct. And this is why I get really annoyed when I infantry main. Like, that's it, that's what I've got to choose from. Like, how's that fair? Like I've got one soak option and that's it. Maybe I've got a field soak if I want to take Lonesome Star. They're not releasing infantry officers. So I mean, hell, I mean, if you're gonna just go navy main, you may as well just do artillery. At least then you can defend your base when it's on the ground and in a build. Or you could go, tank and have a stupid helicopter with Haymaker. Who knows? And considering it does not take very long at all to get your navy officers, as by the way, you can see here, I've now got all 6 of my navy officers, and we can have a look at their gear as well. We've got reasonably good gear. We've got the increased troop damage resist on the soak. We have damage resist again on the soak, and on our main missile destroyer, our guided missile destroyer, we have a skill boost and we have a normal attack boost and a skill boost. Again, we're only 5 away from having this at level 5, so when we tick over on Monday, I'll just pump the 5 into that from the VIP store, and I'll get the bonus 3.6% or whatever it is. And if you're wondering, that's my current level. It's 395 for my gear. It's currently at 395. We're working towards that 450, and we're working towards it at a rapid pace. That's why I'm dumping all of that gold in. As you can see, as we're going through, we're just absolutely spamming gold into the, what's it called? The Bistro Gear Depot. Because yeah, at 36,000 a pop, we can do quite a bit of damage to our gear limit. We can do quite a bit of damage to our gear limit, and every 15 you get at least a guaranteed 1 legendary piece. So just dump gold into your gear, get your gear level up, because of the gear level the gear level rapidly gets out of hand. I think I'd done this in the last stream as well. I think I showed you guys in the last stream. When I go up to 450, I'll get an additional 4% base HP. I'll get additional 4% base firepower and AA firepower. I'll also get 1.5% Air Force HP. And when I go up to 600, I will get AA firepower and also AA damage resist from the base. Sorry, damage intensity. So that will make my anti-air on my base automatically better. And we get a ground force firepower 1.5%. After that, we get a naval force firepower, we get a normal attack damage resistance on the base, and we get bases officers damage resist. The base gets a natty 3% officer damage resist. And then it goes on to another HP, naval HP, Air Force HP, another base HP, another base HP, and on and on and on and on and on it goes. And at the moment, you can get it up to 2.25 million. These are the current bonuses for your eyes to enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see here, we've currently got a bonus of 1.5% on ground force HP. We've currently got a bonus of 1.5% of naval HP. We've also got a bonus of 4% base HP. Our base watchtower and AA is at 2% bonus for damage intensity. Our base damage resist is at a bonus of 3%. And our normal attack damage resist is also at 3%. And it's not going to stay like that for long, because once we get into conquest and I can start harvesting gold out of bloody nodes, be rest assured I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to be shiny. Every 20 minutes I'll be opening my phone to get more shiny shinies, because I can convert that into gear, which I can then convert directly into this exhibition hall and then just make it more bust over and over and over again. So just make stuff broken. And some of these, man, some of these are so stupid. Look at this. Increases the officer's skill critical damage of this officer's artillery troop by 6%. And the officer's skill resilience by 3%. So if you're getting hit with a splash attack, which is a skill shot, by the way, you get damage resist on it. And at level 40, it goes up to 40% for your troop and a resistance of 20%. And look at this, you're getting an officer skill crit rate, an officer skill crit rate of 24%. You're getting an officer skill boost of 24%. And you're getting a troop damage resist of 24%. These are bust. These are so broken. These gold ones, they're just insane. I mean, look at this Air Force one at max level. When this troop is attacked, it gains a shield coefficient for 500 for 4 seconds. You can buy this with conquest coins. That's why it's level 12. Because you can buy that with conquest coins. Look at the harpoon. Well, we covered the harpoon. We covered the pistol as well. And everyone knows the bulwark shield. Resilience, 40%. So that'll just go straight on my infantry once I get that to 40. If I ever get it to 40. Look at the damage resistors, 24%. I mean, at the moment, the only reason why I haven't got it on there is because we've got effectively the damage resistance of 17% with the knife. You know, a level 6 shield with 5 damage resist, even though we have a 6% skill resist, it's still not as good as the 13% damage resist or the 7% damage resist we have on the aid. So that's kind of everything. I know it was a bit jumbled this evening. I know I started off the stream with the incorrect title. For some reason, it wouldn't let me change the title until I started streaming. I was kind of hoping that it would just not do that, but yeah, never mind. And there you have it. There's my silver team. There's my silver loadout ready to go. We also have infantry at base to base as well, which will change a few officers around, change what they're carrying as well. You see here we've got two critical officers. For those of you who missed out on last week's, it's because this will be at 7.2 as soon as we enter, and then it will go straight up to 8.0. The modifier has already been done. The parts have already been done. We're just waiting for the classic mechanic. And the last classic mechanic we need on the ground to get up to max is the anti-tank gun. Everything else is 2020, 2020, 2020, and 2020. And this one is also sitting at 2020. Now I could reset this and I could get the ground completed because the Air Force is notoriously expensive. The problem is, the problem is this is such a nice aircraft with its Gold Plus Plus parts on it. I think it deserves it. And then on top of that, we are kind of running uh, Darkwing with that helmet. I don't know why we've got the pistol on him. We'll have a look at the gear quickly. Damage resistant firepower. I think we'll probably swap these two around. I mean, once as you can see here, I am working on Sky Jockey. However, that being said, I have temporarily halted work on Sky Jockey because I will be working on Yardbird. As you can see, he's 3 across the board already. Is my next video / stream going to be on Yardbird? No, it's not. It's actually going to be a unit build, and we're going to cover the unit build that I briefly discussed this evening in greater depths. Why? Because everyone knows Yardbird is broken. Everyone knows he is a base killer. If you don't know that by now, me telling you that isn't going to make any difference. Is he a core officer? This is a key question because I did get asked this during the week. Is he a core officer? The answer depends entirely on what you're using your artillery for. So if you're a field player, typically your artillery is donor. And if your artillery is donor, generally, if it's inside your base, it is defensive artillery. It's not going to be Venturous Eye. It's going to be, Argent Flame and Stinger Fist. So, do you need him? Not really. He's not really geared up for absolutely dropping the hate in a defensive situation. And if you are a defensive player and you are a field player, you kind of don't need him. However, if you do want a siege gun that is going to absolutely smack the back doors off a base, this guy is going to do it for you. He's going to do that without even trying. It's going to be embarrassing how dangerous this guy is once more people get a hold of him. I kind of want to get him awakened before I do anything in terms of a video. I reckon that'll be about 5 weeks. Do I want to do a video on him between now and then? Not really, if I'm perfectly honest. I think enough of the YouTube community surrounding this game have probably covered him. I know Scopes has covered him, for example. Scopes is a great guy. People regularly send me his videos. I don't watch them when you send them to me. Do you know why? Because I like watching things about Elden Ring. I don't watch things about Warpath. I don't even like playing Warpath. That's a lie. That's a lie. I enjoy playing Warpath. I really want to play Elden Ring and Dark Souls and stuff like that. So I watch videos on those games. I don't watch videos on games I'm making content for because I don't see the point. If my opinion wasn't valid, you guys wouldn't sit and listen. So I guess. I mean, I say my opinion is valid. You wouldn't sit and listen. That was really big headed of me, and that's also not true. I don't think that's the case at all. I think there is just so few people talking about this game. It's very easy to get a platform about this, which is why whenever you come to me and you say, I've got a great idea, I'm like, great, make a YouTube video on it. Don't tell me, you do it yourselves, guys. I don't really want to cover him, if I'm honest, because he is just too dangerous. Like, if you're going to attack an enemy base, if you've got 5 players and you've got 5 of him, one on each gun, the base is going. Like, it's going. Where it's going, who knows? The ether, the warp, the nether realms. Maybe it's just going to be atomized, but it's going. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video on him in like 2 weeks. Maybe I'll do a video on him never. Maybe I'll wait until he's awakened. I'm more interested in getting my Air Force up and running at the moment, if I'm perfectly honest. Although, as I said, I have delayed in order to get him into rotation. The reason being is he's going to sit behind Argent Flame when I attack, um, just for that 25% bonus. Because I'm not going to change this combo, because I like this combo too much. I could objectively make this combo more dangerous and then put one of them behind Argent Flame and make that okay. But here's the thing, I feel like if I put all my eggs in one basket, if I make like the most dangerous siege gun I can build, and I was actually talking to someone about this in Discord earlier this afternoon. The thing is, with a lot of people covering the artillery officer and saying, hey, you need Yardbird and Ventura. Here's the thing, if I see an AG coming towards me and I know I can get air supremacy over that AG, who do you think I'm targeting first with my bomber? Do you think I'm targeting a tank, or do you think I'm targeting the artillery piece with Ventura and Eye on it, or Ventura and Yardbird on it, or Yardbird as the captain? Because that's what I'm doing. Okay, that's what everyone is doing. That's not even a secret. That's how people with dive bombers attack. People with the Liberty bombers will just carpet the whole area and hope for the best. And I know it works. I know it works. But the point is if you get that air supremacy over your base in favor of you, you can remove that threat almost immediately. And that's my point. My point is that if you put all of your best officers into one really hard hitting gun, that's great if they're offline. But if they are online and they can see it coming and they can do something about that, and then you lose your biggest asset in damaging that base, which is why I want to spread him into another officer, another unit. It still applies to tanks too, does it? Double check that. Tank hunter or helicopter troop. This troop gains an extra 15% dodge chance when this officer is in a tank. Ah, okay. Okay, right. So 50-50, yes. When this officer is in a tank or a helicopter troop, it receives this 35% diminishing for 12 seconds upon entering combat. Did I read that wrong then? When this officer is in a tank, hunter, or helicopter troop, the troop gains 15% dodge chance. When this officer is in a tank or helicopter troop, the troop receives diminishing 35% dodge chance for 12 seconds upon entering combat. I read that as if you're in a helicopter, you get 15 plus a 35 that goes down to 0. That's fine by me. This is why I say you see, this is exactly why I say every week I am not the smartest guy, and you should not just listen to me. You should listen to all the other guys who make videos. I will make a lot of mistakes. The reason why I make a lot of mistakes is because I don't really read things properly. It's easy to do. I get bored. It's 15 for 35 for heli, but 35 only for tanks. Yeah. So I was right the second time when I read it then. Yeah. So my point is really, if you're going to abuse that dodge chance, then you probably are still going to want to put him on a helicopter. Yeah, okay, you could put him on a tank, but you're going to be missing out on this 15%. I mean, do you really want to be missing out on a free 15%? That's a pretty high stat. That's a pretty high stat. That's like me going, hey, do you want 15% crit, but you've got to be in a specific unit? 15% chance to dodge is really high. So while yes, technically you can say he can go on a tank, he is definitely more of a helicopter. Definitely more of a helicopter officer. I mean, shit, the whole fucking picture is a helicopter for his awakened picture. But thank you very much for pointing that out, there, Scrooge. So I would have genuinely missed just that. I genuinely would have missed just that bit there. But hey, like I said earlier, I make mistakes. I do it all the time. It's very easy, and I don't mind being called out on it. It's like, hey, you've read this wrong. Fine, tell me. Like, I'm an idiot. Jesus. That's why I'm always amazed that so many people watch my VODs afterwards. I'm like, why do you guys watch me? I make just as many mistakes as you guys do. I'm not like the best player at Warpath. You're planning on getting on Yardbird? Of course I'm getting Yardbird. I'm not going to do a video on him, but of course I'm getting him. I've stalled building my. I've stalled. I was going to get Sky Jockey, and then they released Yardbird, and I was like, oh, guess I'll wait until I've got Yardbird then, before I complete Sky Jockey, because we're going into a predominantly ground based conquest. There's every possibility I get this guy awakened by the end. I know I will get Nighthawk with my Blade Wing. That combo is insane. Yes, I do know. At the moment, the only reason why the combo is not like that is because I have Blade Wing awakened and I have Darkwing awakened, and these guys are just starting off. And I do need to change around the gear as well, but I can't be bothered with that at the moment. So but thank you for pointing that out, because I would have just left that in there. And there you have it. Are you going to have the max sub next conquest? Well, I was going to, but then they dropped the infantry skin, and I'm now changing my base to base tactic. So my base to base tactic, if the base is offline, I will pull out a second infantry group in place of this Vanguard ATG, and the Vanguard infantry will provide a +4 damage resistance bonus to all units, including the Martyr, which already have a +5 damage resistance bonus. And it will give the artillery a +3% firepower. So 3% isn't a lot, but when you're rolling 3 siege guns, 3% can help. So I was going to do the sub this conquest, but I suspect that sub will be coming probably like maybe 2-3 months time. It doesn't look like it's not going to be a priority for me at the moment, because my navy is back into 8.0. It's pretty decent. I am working towards a 7.1 sub, as you can see here. We've got another 6.1 sitting on standby, ready to. In fact, I'm probably make another 6.1 Martyr, maybe, possibly. possibly. Yeah, yeah. So that sub will be going up to 7.1. By the time the sub is up to 7.1, I kind of hope that I'll be entering the next conquest, and if that's the case, then I will be looking at having that sub at 7.2 straight out the gate. As for who I would recommend on a sub, now we've got, I'd take Rip Current and Liberty Blaze. The reason being, we've got a normal attack boost, and because it's a hidden unit, you're going to pop out, do a normal attack. So that's going to hurt. We want high damage intensity, and this is what he gives, damage intensity. And we get a firepower boost, which we're not really that bothered about, but we get a load time reduction and a speed buff, which is really handy because we're going to be a hit and run unit. And of course, damage intensity out of the skill shot as well. And I'd probably put Rip Current as the captain, just so we can get a damage resist debuff off on the target before we apply a damage intensity buff from the actual officer. That would be the order I do things in, and then for the gear, I would probably take. Well, there's not a lot to choose from. Well, it'd be this. There'd be the harpoon immediately, and probably the goggles as well, because you got intensity and normal attack, and they're the two things you probably want on a sub. My guess would be 18 away from getting Phoenix. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. Clear disadvantage. We'll see about that. Oh God, don't watch me get my ass handed to me. Right. That's a lot of boats. Right, now I've just got to kill these faster than it'll take the rest of them to turn up. You can see Rip Current working over here real hard. There we go. Oof, that was a hefty hit. And the question is, can my anti-air destroyer save my ship? Yes, it can. Clear disadvantage my ass. Steel Phoenix. Sorry. Sorry. I'm very tired and both very sick as well. I had the norovirus this week. That was great fun. Absolutely spiffing. I do not recommend getting the norovirus. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is this guy's beef? Oh. Oh. Oh dear. That sucked. I can't see that the aircraft keep flying off the map. Okay, they are getting absolutely bullied. Yeah. I'm looking forward to using this in silver. I've been accused of seal clubbing. Um, yeah, fine, whatever. That's if that's what it is. It is what it is. I don't care. I have fun. The objective of the game is to have fun. If I'm having fun, just I'm having fun. I wonder if I can get to the end of this. Hmm. Oh, bugger me sideways. That is a lot of fucking missile destroyers. Oh, get fucked. Hopefully, if I can just keep getting them skill shots off, I should just win. Yep. This is what I was saying earlier about the gear. The gear is just. The gear is what's pulling me through this more than anything else. Look, we've got a damage resist of 9.1%, and we've got a troop HP and skill officer boost on this guy as well. 16.6. She's rocking. He's rocking the other one for damage resist, 6%. So that means the armor destroyer is like rocking like 15% damage resist out the gate. I wonder how long it is before I lose one. Then should we just carry on and see if I lose one? This one looks janky. Armored. That's a lot of aircraft carriers though as well. Oi, that's a bit rude of him. He was technically the closest unit. Oh no. Oh no. They're going after the wrong one. Now it's a race against time. Can my anti-air destroyer shoot them down fast enough before they get to him? Can he apply? Oh, he can apply skill damage to aerial targets. Okay. Yeah. Plink. You just finished yours this week, did you, Kraken? I don't know how far the naval campaign goes. But I'm now at the sort of position where I am getting through it. That's for sure. I'm not sure if there's another one after this or not. Oh, there are subs. Don't think I didn't see you there, you little bastards. Oh, God. Bit of clever positioning. Might win it. Yeah, I think we've got this one in the bag as well. Just do it at 8.0. I might actually be able to level something up. Hang on. Can I get this any higher yet? No. I'll put a modifier on it, though. There we go. That'll do. Give that a little bit more of a kick. 40, what, 440. Okay, so this is like the last stretch of the campaign for me then. I've been putting off doing this for so long. Those anti-sub frigates are just... They're deceptively vicious. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Well, I think that's answered that question as to how far we're getting this evening. We're getting to 428. Never mind. Never mind. We've got 2,000 of these to spend, though, so let's just pick up stuff, I guess. There we go. So is there anything else you guys want to ask or correct me on before I leave and do something else out of just boredom? Is there any other questions you have about Warpath or what I'm doing with my silver account or Haymaker, maybe, seeing as that is the core subject of today's stream? We can see if we've got any, if we can find any other use for him, if anyone's got any other questions targeted specifically at him. I wonder if I've got any more free. No, I don't. I never remember how long they are. They're like 2 or 3 hours ago for each one, aren't they? Well, if you guys have nothing else that you want to talk about or ask this evening, and you are watching the VOD, please leave a comment in the comment box. You are more than welcome to call me out for making 2 mistakes in a single video, which is that's fine. I actually like I said, I very nearly didn't bother doing a stream today at all, or this week. I was actually going to put a post out on YouTube saying it's just not happening this week, but after I read what Haymaker was capable of and I knew everyone would be jumping on Yardbird, I figured Haymaker's going to get slept on. People need to know about him, especially those who need new helicopters. So I've been the Smoking Cheddar, and you guys have been very patient. I didn't do my standard intro, did I? Because I am, in fact, the Smoking Cheddar, and you probably already knew that by now, come to think of it. Because, if you've just sat through an hour and 20 minutes of me yapping, you've probably at some point looked at the bottom of the screen and gone, who's this English mug who keeps making all these mistakes? The Smoking Cheddar, I am watching this prick again. So yeah, anyway, I've been the Smoking Cheddar. You guys have been very patient. Thank you very much for watching this evening. And thank you very much if you watch in the future. As always, a link to the Discord will be in the description box down below. You're more than welcome to come and play other games with me in that Discord. Um, if you are looking to join my Silver Alliance, please don't ask me. I am not the Alliance leader. I merely work there. Please ask the Alliance in question, the Alliance leader. Um, but I think we're planning on staying in Silver 2, so don't hassle him if you're looking to join a Silver 2 Alliance, because we're not playing. We're not planning on playing seriously, especially with the advance on Cyberstan coming up. If you are a Helldiver, you know. If you are not a Helldiver, then sucks to be you, I guess. As always, just be nice to everyone out there. Drink some water, have a snack, and yeah, watch other YouTubers. Don't watch just me. I mean, other people have better ideas than what I do. I'm just an idiot. We've proven that twice this evening already. So thank you very much for stopping by, and I will see you when I can be bothered to do another stream. Hopefully, I'm hoping on Monday, and we will look at a full unit build for Yardbird. So maybe see you Monday, might be Tuesday, could even be Wednesday. Don't ask. It's just whether or not I have the time and or can be, in fact,